Meeting is being recorded.
Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. We're grateful that you can join us for another week, and we're super excited. This week we have on Lisa Geren, hopefully I said that right, and Renee, oh, I moved my thing, uh, Eisen, sorry. Hopefully I said that right. That is one thing I should have checked before this. So they are from Radiant Spaces. Their training has empowered them to use holistic energy clearing tools to clear, balance, and restore healthy energetics to land and spaces. They were created by them with the mission to empower people to have the tools and knowledge they need to create and enjoy sacred space. Renee and Lisa are passionate about using a collaborative process to help their clients identify and manifest their intentions they have for their home, office, land, or commercial space. Radiant Spaces has been in business for over 4 years, and we wish to join an entrepreneur group to network and connect with other women owned business and mutual support of our goals and intentions. In addition to our energetic space clearing, we also have synthetic free product line that was inspired and created from our energetic space clearing work, including a line of aromatics and space clearing candles. Their room sprays are botanically based and have no parabens, phthalates, or chemicals. I know I got that word. They currently have four different space clearing room sprays that are Reiki and gem infused. They have four space clearing kits, which come with crystals, a guided audio meditation, a room spray, and a booklet with instructions on how to use the kit and go through the space clearing exercises at home. So, welcome, Renee and Lisa. We're super excited to have you on with us today.
Thank you. We're excited to be
Thank
here.
you.
So,
So excited to
4 years
meet
you've been
you.
in business. Can you explain what drove you to create Radiant Spaces?
Yeah.
Uh, well, let's see. Let's start with me, I guess. I had always been sensitive growing up. I grew up with a rock band that's big in the US called Grateful Dead. My mom's worked with them since the 60s and ended up in my early career in music as well. And so I'd always been in big spaces with a lot of people. Since I was 6 months old, I was going to Grateful Dead shows, falling asleep with cotton balls taped in my ears to protect my hearing. But I've always been aware of a lot of people and a lot of space. So that wasn't foreign to me, but I didn't know how to identify it. And as I got older and left music industry, I ended up in real estate and was just traveling a lot and really started conceptualize and started to put names to the ideas of walking into spaces and feeling different in certain areas. And I really married those two in my head one day in meditation. I'm like, wait, first of all, I didn't meditate. So that was new for me. And second, I thought, gosh, I can really feel that there's something different in this space. So I just put my head down and started really studying and really committed to learning about the space. And then I had the opportunity to meet Lisa with such an incredible background, which I can't wait for her to share with you, and her own reasons to come to energy work and clearing and said to her, I have this idea and it's not going to work unless you do it with me, but no pressure. But will you be my partner? Because our skill sets are so complementary and she's just easily one of the top integrity filled people I know and just brilliant in every aspect. So creating a business with Lisa is just such a no brainer. So that's how we started. And then Lisa, can you share your part? Because yours is so interesting.
Thanks, Renee. I appreciate that. And we are just, thrilled to be able to work in tandem with one another. Just like Renee was saying, it's just been such a beautiful journey to have a partnership where we can support each other. And my story in terms of how, I got into Radiant Spaces type of work is that for many years, I worked in the field of hospice care and palliative care. So I was a medical social worker and a grief counselor. And I worked in the field of social work almost, I want to say, when all was said and done, about 22 years, so a long time. And as you can imagine, I've been in a lot of different situations where there were difficult times because people were dealing with death and dying and end of life issues. And that can bring up just a lot of energy. And so I hadn't at that time yet actually realized just how much of a toll being in some very intense spaces was taking on me. And I actually became chronically ill for a period of time where I was very sick. And I found my way to a holistic school that is called the Academy of Intuition Medicine, and it happens to be in the state of California. And what's really interesting about this school is that it's actually one of only a few accredited programs where it's actually state certified. So we go through rigorous training, we have to write papers. There's a lot of like research studies involved that we learn and we talk about. And then we do a tutoring apprenticeship afterwards. And it's ends up being about a 2 year plus program. And so both Renee and I are graduates of that program. And one of the modules that we learned was clearing spaces. And I very much was really intrigued, and it piqued my interest. And so after learning those skills and really learning about how to make spaces, really shift them and lift them, when Renee approached me, it was also a no-brainer for me because I was like, I think I'm ready for a transition. I'm so glad I was able to do hospice care for a long time. It was very meaningful, but I felt ready to have a different approach in my career. And so here we are. It'll be coming up this spring. It'll be 5 years for us. So the time
Oh,
has flown because we're having fun.
That's an important thing, is to have fun. And that's one thing we've learned doing this. So what I know, and I know for sure, we both know that when you enter a space, and often I think even our followers probably will know this, when you enter a space, sometimes you can feel that energy being different, whether you've walked into a really tense situation or somewhere
so
like
true.
you're saying into a hospital or somewhere like that where there's a lot of grief. And I know that that energy sticks and hangs around. So can you guys talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that. And a lot of people will think that space clearing, the idea is woo woo, when in actuality, it's been widely practiced in cultures, religions across the world and throughout time. Whether you're walking down a church, carrying incense, in a Christian or Catholic mass, or you're in a Jewish synagogue, there's different ideas of space clearing that are really really threaded through, and the whole idea is just making your space good and feeling high vibrational. And Lisa and I are just so committed to really clearing people's space for them, and we work with clients remotely around the world. Yes, we are based in San Francisco, and we do see some in-person clients in the Bay Area, but we're very selective because if we're seeing someone in person, then we can't see a lot of clients that day. So 95% of our work is remote. So we're able to work from our really highly conditioned spaces and train energetically, and then read spaces and assess from there. But really, at the end of the day, our goal is to collaborate with the client. Some clients will just hire us and say, clear the space, and we know they're able to carry on. But we do love to give some tips and tricks and tools to our clients to help them keep that elevation of vibration, because we don't want it to be a one and done. We want to empower them. And then if they need to reach out to us once a season, once a year, great. But we're hoping that the in-between time will be really high vibrational.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
very nice. And so how do you like, do you use sound? Do you use the incense or Palo Santo? Obviously you use your sprays. So can you talk a little bit about some of the tools that people can use and that you guys use for clearing?
Absolutely. We are excited that, when we were taking trainings and learning more and more about space clearing, we actually studied with a variety of teachers, including, Denise Lynn is one. Of course, she's so well known in the space clearing world. As I mentioned, we also studied at the Academy of Intuition Medicine. We were mentored by a gentleman who has Native American heritage, who taught us some tools as well. We've been voraciously taking educational classes. I've become certified in something called acutonics and sound healing, and Renee has many certifications to her name, which include, feng shui. We're both crystal certified, crystal healing certified. Renee, you've done many other courses that, we could do a whole podcast just on Renee's education. It's amazing how many wonderful things that she's studied. So she is just absolutely brilliant. And we are excited to have that as our tool belt to bring to our clients, because we can pick from a variety of things that are really holistic, integrative. And together, Renee and I actually came up with almost our own methodology of how to approach spaces, because we believe that spaces, there's nothing cookie cutter about a space. Everything is unique to not only the occupants who live there, but the history and the geography of the land itself. Whether that land had Native American tribes that we need to honor and acknowledge, or if there was, original settlers that had some history there, we look at that. We look at, the topography. We look at the ley lines of land, the elements. So we love to use things like colorful altars that have different colors that mean different symbolic ideas. We create and curate crystals for a crystal grid for every client that none are the same. So we don't replicate any grids. We don't have any set formulas. So everything is really based on our clients' intentions. And of course, I'm a sound girl, so I love to bring sound in. I love to bring crystal bowls, Tibetan bowls. I'll bring in chimes and tuning forks, all sorts of fun things to play with. And what we found, honestly, is sound is one of the quickest ways to shift energy in a space. It is able to really move the chi or the energy around a home or an office or a piece of land. And what's nice is that Renee and I really try very hard to find ways for our clients to maintain the high frequency after service. And we don't like to give anything that's expensive. We want things to be affordable. We want things to be sustainable and also easy on, on their environment. So if you are really in need of a space clearing, and your room is feeling maybe a little stagnant, you can actually clap. You can use your own hands and clap in each corner of the room, and that will start to move some energy. You could ring a bell, something that doesn't have to be expensive, a chime. You could play really uplifting and inspiring music, and that has a vibration and a frequency to it. So all of those things are going to be able to start to get energy moving and flowing again. Just like how someone might go to like an acupuncturist and get an acupuncture treatment to help move the energy around their body, their meridian system, we kind of think about our space like our client, and we're moving that energy around the meridians of the home. So lots of fun ways to do that with different tools. And interestingly, I will say one last thing. You asked about burning incense. We sometimes will burn things like sage or incense, but we actually often don't, because when Renee and I are working, we don't necessarily want to breathe in the smoke from some, things that are burning all day long, which is partly why we created our product line of synthetic-free sprays that are really clean, so that we can use aromatics all day long without having any health issues that might arise from that. So it's a really good point and question that you brought up.
Well, and I believe that, because if you're doing that many in a day, because I know that, like, I used to use sage a lot more, and now I use Palo Santo because it's not as aggressive of as a tool. But I really love that you talked about, some of these things that people can bring in as far as clapping or some of those things like that. I started using a singing bowl, and the first time I ever did it, it was just astounding to me, just even just playing it, just the way that I could feel the energy shifting around me. And I will often use like I have a little like rattle, and I'll do that in the corners to move some air. So I love that you shared that, people can see that, we need help sometimes moving those spaces and getting down a little deeper. But if we're just trying to move a little bit of stagnant energy, it's possible by ourselves.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
We like to compare it to like a dental hygienist. Like, of course, you brush your teeth, you can energetically clear your own space, but it's very helpful to have someone from a different perspective give you some tips and tools and help do the big clearing and cleaning.
Yeah, and I love that you guys look at all these different aspects of it as well, like with, the topography and the ley lines and, the history of the land and things like that. So, can you talk a little bit about like how stuck energy kind of gets created in spaces for people?
That's yeah, it's gosh, it's so prevalent. We work with just so many different types of people, everything from homes to we do a lot of commercial work, a lot of doctor offices, wellness practices. And the one common denominator that we always see when there's stuck energy is if there's a lot of people in a space or if there's someone in the space that's had some sort of hardship. It could be a breakup if someone had an illness. We just did a clearing last week, actually, for a wellness practice. And you can tell the treatment rooms where people would go in because they were stressed. And you could feel it. It was like when Lisa and I walked in, we're like, wow, it's palpable. So, whatever the reason that people may leave energy, also, it's really great to do a clearing at the change of the season just to welcome new, fresh energy. We also do a lot of support work around businesses. So if there's a team that's trying to do something creative, manifest money, we have a lot of retail clients that will call us and have us come in and work on their place of business, whether it's a commercial space or an office, just to help the flow loosen up. So gosh, it's especially this time of year, like if people have family coming into town. So there's really never a bad time to do space clearing. It's just good to stay on top of it. It's just a great like regular hygiene. It's energetic hygiene to keep spaces really flowing. And we've had so many different reasons as to why people call, and they always make sense. But it's truly goes back to that spaces like people can hold on to energy, and it's like you mentioned, you can walk into a space and really feel when it's contained in a space. So just making sure that you're whether using the sound bowls, the clapping, sprays, just as simple as opening up windows and doors. Lisa and I love crystals, so that's another thing we love to advise people on, especially this time of year at the end of the year when you have a lot of family coming, maybe tucking some rose quartzes to help everybody stay nice when they're all together, and some blue lace agate in the underneath the beds to help people sleep. Like there's little things like that you can do to help maintain space. But to us, whatever it is, an office, commercial, a home, it's really about just making the energy as high vibrationally as possible and creating sacred space wherever you are. Like every space can be a sanctuary.
Yeah. Did you have a question, Mom?
No, I was just going to say the other night I woke up and out of my sleep and I thought, just laying there thinking, oh boy, I've got some bad energy around me here or something because everything just was very nervous and restless. So I went into this room and did some clearing on myself and just sat for a couple of minutes to wait for it to come together sort of thing, went back to bed and it was fine. So I truly believe in what you girls are doing. I think it's a wonderful thing because people don't realize just how much you need that in order to keep yourself healthy too. Not just your space, but your own person. They both come together sort of thing. Because I know when I'm doing clearing, I also use my Reiki. To clear the space. I didn't not in particular, but listening to all the different modalities that you use, you girls right on top of it. It's beautiful what you're doing because people need this. Yeah.
Thank you. We feel so passionate about what we do.
So is there a preparation that you do for the two of you to, I guess, prepare to clear a space that's about like sort of self-clearing for yourself or that kind of thing? And is there something that you do after you clear a space so you don't take any of that energy home with you?
Yes, and yes. A resounding one at that. I love that you asked about that because I feel like that's really important. And I think both Renee and I had learned from, your work in the music industry and my work in the medical field that you sometimes just can't help but, almost marinate in different people's energies as we out in the world. And sometimes those energies can be sticky, so to speak. And it's important to feel like you have a process that you can, protect yourself, but also if something does come through and you feel like you've been affected, that you can clear it. And so before we start any clearing, Renee and I actually have a whole protocol that we go through where we actually look at a client's intake form that we created ourselves, and we really get entrained with the intentions of our client and the history of what they've given us about the place that we're going to clear. And then we go into meditation and we have a whole setup process that we do to really keep our own energy field really pristine and really strong. So whether we're in person or looking at something remotely, that, as you mentioned, Renee, that we're working from what we call like a very highly conditioned, almost like in a laboratory, they call it a clean room. We're working from a very energetically clean room, looking at these different places and spaces. And when we are finished with the clearing, we will often end with a blessing ceremony, which by its nature is a very high vibrational thing when you're blessing something or someone. So we end with that. And then we also have a whole process where we sort of go through our different protections that we've put up and let those go and kind of dial back down to our usual out in the world kind of protocol. And, crystals are such our friends, and we have a lot of crystals here that help support us. We particularly love smoky quartz, which is a really wonderful crystal for protection. We love black tourmaline, obsidian. These are wonderful ones. Selenite, of course, clear quartz being a master crystal. We keep a lot of these in our offices and on site. I always have a couple crystals in my purse, when I'm out and about. So yes, we have lots of things to keep our energy feeling really protected, so that we can, really help as many people as we can in a positive way.
I love that. I really do. And I think it's important for people to know that because, yeah, like we just, everybody's energy intermingles with everybody's energy all the time. And if we're just kind of walking around and not paying attention to that, right, we can just,
Yeah.
bring home somebody's energy with us without even intentionally meaning to do that. So, and Renee, you had talked about clearing your space sort of like you would brush your teeth and then you get your dental hygienist. And can you talk a little bit about like, as far as most people, like what would be a good timing to clear your space?
Definitely at the start of a new season, a start of a new life chapter. I'm welcoming my sixth grandbaby into our family any day now. So thank you. So a birth of a new child, the beginning of a significant relationship if a couple's moving in together, or the dissolution of a big relationship, a divorce. Anytime there's like a big milestone, that's really helpful. Lisa and I do a lot of work with people that are purchasing homes, or moving out, just to either clear out old energies so they can move all their belongings and their energy in, or clear their energy out if they're trying to sell the house. So anytime that you can feel that there's a shift of energy that's needed, or be more supportive to the space, is a good time. There's truly never a bad time to do it. It's just a matter of really checking in with your intuition. And there is a little somewhat of a responsibility on the client's end, because we can clear the space, but if the client isn't following up with a couple of, I mean, as Lisa mentioned, everything we recommend is affordable and feasible. It's nothing too hard to do, but it's also the responsibility of the client to definitely check in and make sure it feels good, and do a couple of the small tools that we recommend. And Lisa and I are very diligent. After our clearing, we do a follow-up phone call. We check in. To us, the clearing is the beginning of a long-term relationship with our client. because we love staying in touch, and a lot of our clients refer people to us. So we always want to make sure that they have what the tools they need, and if they want to make another appointment, we're there. But those are some really big milestones that are just worth noting. And then commercially and work-wise, anytime you want to spark a team to get more, creativity, you want to boost sales, we definitely have protocols just to make the energy as high as possible to help support the idea of whatever you want is possible. It's just a matter of showing up for your space and creating that sanctuary.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, because I think that's good for people to know. And it's funny you brought up work, because that was one of the questions I was going to ask. So when you are in a communal place and maybe not everybody in that area is into space clearing, or because a lot of people still think it's woo even though it's not. But how could is there a way that you could clear your own space, your own office, that would maybe hopefully leak out to the rest of the office?
I love that question, because I think you make a very good point, which is that if you think about us, we're all, individual energetic fields, but then we also participate in a communal or collective energy field. And so each one of us I like to think about it as we're all a point of light, and sometimes that light gets a little dimmer when things are going on in our life, or we're stressed or we're feeling down, but we really are a collective as well as an individual. And I do believe that if there's someone in an office space, for example, that is aware of space clearing and does a little space clearing in their office, that they became a beacon for that office that helps to really keep that light bright, or that space really moving and shining and lighter and brighter. And some of our clients that we work with are in really high density office buildings or really high density neighborhoods where there is just a ton of energy going on. And as they become more aware of their own space, and I like to call it individual weather that we carry, our day, the more that they can really shift their own, space and weather there, then they're going to affect everyone else on their neighborhood block. They're going to affect that community, that town, that office space and place. And so it just gets brighter and better when people are more aware of, the way that they are contributing their energetic field. And so I do think that, absolutely you can do things to help really bring a benefit to wherever that you are. We're actually, I would like to say, Renee, that we're kind of becoming masters at hiding crystals in workspaces where, again, not everyone is aware of space clearing, or like you mentioned, thinks it's a little out there, a little woo. But there are so many places that you can tuck crystals where they're still going to be just as effective. I mean, they are beautiful. Of course, we love to display them, but some people aren't necessarily comfortable with that. So we will find ways to tape them behind artwork. You can put them in planter pots. If you have an office plant, you can lift up your plant and put some crystals in. You can put them in a drawer. I mean, there's lots of fun ways to think about playing with the palette of crystals. And so we have all sorts of tips and tricks for people if they want the benefit, but without it necessarily being extremely visible to other people. So yeah, things like that. And Renee, you've had some really interesting feng shui tips for people in offices that just have to do with certain placements of things like auto mirrors. And I don't know if you want to maybe mention a couple of those as well.
I love to geek out on feng shui. It's one of my favorite things. And there's such practical tools. So that's something we love to share with clients as well, because then it may not be too woo-woo or over the top for them, but that they'll notice the shift of the energy. But yeah, as Lisa mentioned, one of our favorite things is taping crystals in funny places where no one knows they're there. And then all of a sudden, a couple days later, we get a report back, oh, it feels so good here, and no one can tell why. And we know why.
Yeah, That makes sense. And I love that actually that happened is we bought a bed and our bed has drawers under it. And I know sort of like in the feng shui, that's not really the best of things. So I'm like, but that's okay because I'm just going to counteract it. I'm going to just put crystals in all the drawers. And then my husband went in to do something. He's like, I don't know how your crystal got in here. I put it there. Put it back.
That's a great idea. Yeah, you can have all the crystals that are like really supportive for rest or sleep or whatever, you're drawn to, and it's stored nice and easy and nobody's gonna trip on it or, get caught up on it. So
Yeah.
great idea. I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
It was just a funny thing, but I think I might do that because I know our office at work, we have there's some tension. So I might just maybe start putting some crystals in the staff room. I'll just hide them.
Yes, yeah,
Rose
Thank you
quartz.
for that tip because
Yeah.
that's
absolutely.
that's
Pink
amazing.
tourmaline is a wonderful one for harmony in an office or at home. Rose quartz, of course. A lot of the pink crystals have that sense of just, harmony. We use also rainbow tourmaline is another great one. That's actually in our spray, the actual crystals in our harmony bottle. So you can shake it and just like, generate that wonderful frequency. And you can tape crystals under your office chair too. That's another fun place to do it, where if you would like more focus, rainbow fluorite is a wonderful crystal for focus. And so we love when folks say, "Hey, where else can I tuck a crystal?" We're like, "Oh, well, we
So
have
what
a
I need
whole
to
list."
do is
So,
go in early and tape crystals to everybody's chairs, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
yes.
In the coffee room, yeah. All the
Yeah,
crystal
under
space.
the
What
conference
about,
table.
Yeah, exactly.
what about fencing and clearing the crystals after? Like, is there a way of you put them in a drawer, you put them in a plant? Is there another way to cleanse them or clear them so that if they have collected negative energy, that they're now clear and we can start all over again? What would you do with that?
It's so interesting you're asking this question because this is something that Lisa and I have been specifically studying and, quite frankly, obsessed with for the last several years. We have always been so curious and interested in the fact that some people believe that you have to have large crystals. In our practice, we have really found that small crystals work just fine, and it's the intention behind the crystal. And we have noticed that there's definitely crystals you can tell when they're done. One easy way is, of course, with your intuition, and then with sound. With Lisa's sound, we were on site a couple of days ago, and Lisa was working some sound over the owner's crystals, and one of the crystals she stopped over, it was audible. The sound changed completely over this one crystal. So in that case, what we recommend if a crystal is full and needs clearing is always selenite. Selenite's a very powerful crystal to clear other crystals. Some crystals you can run underwater. You can't run anything that flakes like selenite can't go underwater, but there's a lot of crystals that are you're able to run underwater. And then some practitioners, Lisa and I don't practice this as much, but some practitioners recommend putting crystals into salt. And there's some practitioners we know that will put crystals in salt before they come into their home. One of our amazing teachers that teaches elemental space clearing, that's a practice that he holds very sacred. So that's another way to cleanse. So there's some different things you can do. You can also put it out under the moonlight. Of course, be careful in the sunlight. That's one thing people recommend. Lisa and I definitely lean towards the moonlight and make sure you collect them in the morning. And then our sprays. Our sprays are a great way to clear energy out of crystals because since they're Reiki infused, they have tons of energy already inserted into them. You can use those as just a really quick clearing. But we're really conscientious about making sure our crystals are cleansed. And what ends up happening for us when we work with clients is we're using the crystals so much energetically and clearing them out constantly that our crystals stay really high vibrational. And there's the idea that some crystals don't play well together or don't pair well together. And that's something Lisa and I have never understood because the crystals all got along under the earth, and so they certainly going to get along above earth if your intention is good. and you're just trying to put them all together to be supportive. So to us, it's all about intention, whether you need to cleanse a crystal, place a crystal. It's all about that mindfulness and that focused intention.
Yeah, I would
Thank
100%
you.
agree with that. Thank you. I was just going to ask you about your sprays. So, do you want to elaborate a little bit on your sprays and your kits that you have on your site that you sell on your site for people to purchase?
Yeah, thank you, Kim. We would love to just let listeners know a little bit about our products because Renee and I never had the intention to make a product line. That was not in the plans. Um, we were noticing that when we were in clients' homes that we were struggling to find products out in stores that would really fit our rigorous bill of being clean products. So nothing that would had a lot of chemicals, nothing that could upset someone with allergies, sensitivities, if they had young children in the home or even pets. We were really conscientious and mindful of, all those factors and would never want to use something in someone's home that we wouldn't feel comfortable using in our own home. So in order for that to really take effect, we realized that we really needed to develop something on our own because we weren't quite finding the right tools. And we really wanted this to be effective and, as harmless as possible on the environment as well. So with all of those factors put together, we actually found a wonderful formulator. Her name is Jenny, and she is this wonderful head of her own business called Nectar Essences, and they're a wonderful company. So if you're interested in what they do, they have clean body products as well. But she's a master formulator. She's in five-star hotels around the world. She partnered with us to come up with these wonderful scent elixirs that we call, blessing sprays, intention sprays, and space clearing sprays. And so the intention behind them was we didn't want any chemicals, so they're preserved in an organic alcohol, cane alcohol, and they're a blend of different space clearing factors such as high vibe crystals. We've done Reiki with the product as well, and then we also have a blend of essential oils that are known for being good space clearers. So each of our sprays has a different theme. We have our sanctuary spray, which is our main signature one. It was our first one, and that is for the intention of clearing spaces. And it's really wonderful. It's got a very robust citrusy scent, which is uplifting. And it just has some really wonderful other notes in there that are really uplifting and very, I like to call it almost, it's like sunshine in a bottle, you spray it and it's just like, I just feel better. And we've had great feedback from our clients using it. We also have our Harmony spray, which Renee alluded to. It actually becomes very popular around holidays. So speaking about we're in the holiday season now, the Harmony spray is literally all about connections, relationships, love, but also self-love and self-care. And so we have beautiful notes of rose in there with Palo Santo. We have some other essential oils, and there's a rainbow tourmaline crystal that's inside the bottle, and it's been soaked in rose quartz as an essence. So it's really, really beautiful. And when I spray it, I really do feel it in the heart chakra. It's really heart opening. And so it's wonderful for family get togethers or just times of stress when you just need a moment to just take a breath and really get back into the heart. So we love our Harmony spray. It's one of our most popular. We also have a spray that's all about growth and manifestation. And I love this spray as well because it's really it's woodsy, it's a little bit more herbaceous, it's grounding. It has Japanese cypress in it, which is a really beautiful scent. And we have it soaked in many different crystals that are great for abundance and luck and opportunity. And we've had a lot of clients just respond that using the Manifest spray, they have gotten all sorts of new things coming their way. And I always love to pivot back over to Renee because I love about your own husband loves the spray so much that you have to tell him like, honey, don't empty the whole thing on your desk.
Sprays it all over his computer all day long. I'm like, it's still liquid.
But yeah, it's a fun one to use, and we have a lot of great feedback on it. And then we also have a nod to one called Alchemy, which is our mystical spray. It's more of a meditative. It's a little bit more exotic and ambrosia-like.
My
Um,
favorite.
It's Renee's favorite, yeah, and it's our little wink to that mystical universe that we live in, and it's a fun one as well. So we have 4 room sprays, and then we just came out a few months ago with 2 new products. Our Aura Mist spray, which is for the body, so it's actually meant to be worn on you, and we have it in a roll-on and we have it in a mister, and so that has just been so incredible to see people really enjoying those sprays as well.
Oh, that's amazing.
Beautiful.
And we have candles because we've really learned that people that are energetically sensitive, such as Lisa and I imagine both of you must be, are most of the time sensitive to scents. So we created a luxurious candle that is scent free, purposefully scent free. So you can comfortably burn it without burning any essential oils in the air or anything toxic.
I love that.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, can you tell everybody where they can find you, find your products?
Yes, we are just relaunching a website. We're very excited. We just redid it all, and it's radiantspacesllc.com. We have all of our products, ways to reach us, and we just love connecting with people. We know it's not practical financially or otherwise to have a Renee and Lisa in your home, but we never want finances to stop anybody from reaching out to us. So if anyone ever has questions, we would love to hear from you. Just reach out to us on Instagram. And if you have a question, we'll get right back to you. We feel we were put here to do this work to support people. So we're excited to hear from people and hear what they have to say.
And we absolutely love to see people who get inspired by any of the products or the crystals that we use. So we're at Radiant Spaces Clearings on Instagram. And I did forget to mention one thing is that, as Renee mentions, it's not always feasible to have 2 space clearers in your home or even hire us remotely. But we have a kit that actually comes with a meditation and instructions on how to use our spray, a candle, and crystals. And it includes a beautiful meditation for your home or a blessing meditation. So if anyone's interested, that's a great way to experience a mini space clearing that we put together ourselves. So and you can enjoy that as well.
Smart girls.
Yes, yes. We love that. And it's so gracious of you to do that because you're right. We all are at different spots in our life. And I think it's, really speaks to the quality of your business and the quality of you as people, how authentic and genuine you are by offering these things and, putting out there that people can, ask you questions on Instagram and things like that, because clearly you were blessed to be doing this job for people to be able to come to. So thank you. We really we appreciate that about you both.
Well,
So
we are so honored to meet the both of you and just share this space with you. Talk about sacred space.
Yes.
Yes.
It's been
yes,
so special and fun.
yes,
Thank
it
you for
really
having
has
us.
been. And so if you two had a final thought, what would it be for our followers?
Ooh. There's a quote that Renee and I both love. It's actually on our new website, but it happens to be by Albert Einstein. And I love this quote because I feel like it really speaks to all of us who are looking for that little bit of magic in the world. And he says, everything is energy. That's all there's to it. Match the frequency of what you're trying to seek, and you can't help but get it because that is the nature of the world. And it's not philosophy, it's actually physics. And I just love that paraphrase of it, but that idea that, we're working in a world of vibration and frequency. And so let's embrace it and really work with it.
Love that.
Absolutely. And in the spirit of Small Business Saturday, a rising tide lifts all ships. So support small business and support woo-woo female small business because there's a lot of us highly sensitive people out there, and it's great to support
Absolutely.
everybody and learn some good tools.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it has been just delightful talking to the two of you. So thank you so much for sharing space with us and creating this beautiful, magical space for the people that are going to listen to this podcast. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It was
So
really
much.
wonderful to connect with you both. And we wish you all the best. Thank you. And this is a wonderful podcast, and we'll definitely let people know to listen up when it gets posted. And we appreciate you both. Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you. Thank you. We
very
appreciate
much.
you too very much. Very much.
Everybody else, tune in to the next one.